Hey guys, I am back to talk about narcissistic personality disorder, and narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder relationships, in general. I am going to be speaking in regards to romantic relationships because that's the part that I relate to. I did not grow up with any family issues. I did not have a parent that may have abused me, or I did not grow up with a narcissistic parent. However, hopefully, some of you can, even if you don't have a narcissistic, even if you didn't have a narcissistic relationship, which generally, if you have a narcissistic childhood, you're going to also, that's all that you know. So you're also going to, in turn, when you are an adult, go into a narcissistic personality relationship. So you are going to, you're going to be more drawn to narcissists. But from my point of view, I cannot speak on narcissistic abuse as a child. I can't speak on that. So, but hopefully some of you can get something out of this, and relate it, instead of relationships wise, romantic relationship, you can relate it to, things that happened in your childhood. And a lot of people have had this, but had this happen and as they were children, but they don't know that. They don't know. They just know that it was a toxic, it wasn't a good family environment, maybe a broken family, whatever. So a lot of people may, you may think you just didn't have a very good childhood, and now you can find out that it was actually narcissistic personality disorder abuse. So, just keep that in the back of your mind. And also, if you have a toxic relationship, whatever it may be, if it's toxic, that doesn't mean it's narcissistic. That doesn't mean you were with a narcissist. There is a difference between a bad relationship versus a NPD abusive relationship. And then there's also a difference between a uncaring partner and an actual narcissist. So we need to, if you're here, it's probably because you were brought here because of this title. So I hope to help you understand, because a lot of times if we hear about narcissists, then we just label it that, and it may not be that at all. So your tactics in removing yourself or trying to go through counseling, if it was not a narcissistic personality disorder or abusive relationship, those may change. So it's important to know if that was what you had, what you're going through, what you had gone through, or any of that, or what you may go through in the future. And then that way you can also stop, before anything progresses. You can see the tactics and you can label it yourself. And so, I've gone into some different things, but I just feel that I'm just going to speak from my heart. So really, narcissistic relationships, romantic relationships, are like a hamster wheel. And basically it's just a wheel. It keeps going and going and going. And that's why it's so toxic, and that's why it is so hard to get out of, because a lot of people ask, well, why didn't you just leave? It wasn't healthy. Why didn't you just leave? Well, there's a difference. There's a difference between a just bad relationship and a narcissistic and personality disorder relationship. So unless you've been in one, you won't understand that, because other people are able to leave regular relationships that are not healthy, but even normal people like myself who have a very strong background in psychology, sociology, communications, all of that, it still happens to us and we don't even realize it. So, unless you've been in it, then you really can't understand that. So a normal person would be able to get out, but for me, I'm normal, but I was in a narcissistic personality disorder relationship, so I couldn't get out because it was the hamster wheel. And like I said, it's just that. It's toxic, and I've said that several times. And oh, I liked. Meh. Okay, so basically, during these types of relationships, they are heartbreaking, they're thrilling, they're painful, but they're also fun, all at the same time. And they're abusive. So that is very mind F, okay? That's what it is. That's what's happening, is you're being mind F'd. I try not to use that type of language, but there you go. And so, I mean, it's addictive. Those types of relationships are just as addictive as, a drug or alcohol or anything. Everybody has a vice, and, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a vice, but it's an addiction. Because you're constantly in this state of turmoil. You're constantly in a state of fight or flight, which is very, very unhealthy. Physically, it causes physical damage. And so it's just very, very, very addictive. And it takes a long time to realize it and to actually leave and stay gone. Now, it may not be hard to leave, but it's hard to stay gone. And I will say that from experience, because I gave many, many, not second chances, but I don't know, 20 chances at least. So, and I have a personality, a very strong personality, where if I am not happy, I am going to leave, I am going to cut you off, and it is over. End of story. The chance is gone. So it was very, very weird for this to happen in my case. So, I just want to start with some things. I have some cliff notes again. But anyways, you need to know how to protect yourself. But before you can learn how to protect yourself, you have to learn the cycle of abuse. And again, last time I said there were 3 if you want to, lower it down instead of going through all of the different tactics or themes or whatever you want to call it. But today I'm going to go into 4 that are, I'm going to explain it a little bit differently. So, for one, it starts adoration. You are, like I've said, you are the princess, the prince, the queen, the king, whatever. Again, not all narcissists are males. Please understand that and ingrain that in your mind, because I truly, truly believe that I can help some men as well. I do not put this on just men. It is not. In my case, it was, obviously. I was married and we had a child together. So that's my case, but it is not true. And I actually know some female narcissists. So there we go. Anyways, adoration, you are going to be the ultimate, you are the prize of everything. You are everything they dreamed of. And finally, they've met you. Finally, after all of this searching and horrible, horrible past relationships with these crazy people and all of that, you are now the most perfect person on the face of the planet. So they are going to spoil you. They are going to send you flowers. They are going to go out of their way more than anybody in this entire world would ever go out of their way for you, especially if you have like a really great parent. They'll go way above what your parent would do for you. Because it's all fake, and this is when they're reeling you in. So they're getting you. And also during this period, they are watching you like a hawk. They are spying on you. They are looking at, say, some pictures, that you may have, or they'll creep through your phone. They'll creep through your email. Even when you don't do that to them, they will do that to you, and you won't know. And so they're spying on everything. They are literally taking notes about everything about you that you like, or that let's say you had a relationship in the past and it was a good one and you were treated very well. They're going to mimic that, but make it even better. And they're going to just everything that they see about you that you may like, and even if you didn't verbally express it, especially that one's a hard one, because you didn't verbally express it, and then somehow they knew that they obviously somehow had this same interest. Okay, so all of that is fake. Because at the end of the day, the next person that they choose is going to be different, and they're going to be doing the same thing to that next person, and they're just chameleons. So they will, do it to them. So let's say, let's say I'm a Christian, and now the next one's a Buddhist or whatever. It doesn't matter. They are going to be that. Let's say I hated one thing, but the next person loves this. And with me, my ex-husband hated it, but now with the new one, they love it. So they don't have a personality, and that is really true. So they do not have a personality at all, and a lot of times it is because of their upbringing. I brought this up before. I'll just keep that short. It is because of their upbringing, because a parent probably either treated them the way that the parent was a narcissist, and they developed those habits, or in my case with my ex-husband, they're going to treat you that way because I forgot what I was going to say, but they're going to treat you that way. Oh, because they were coddled. And this part does go with men, because it is true that boys and their mother have a very close relationship, but at some point, when they get older, that needs to be cut off, and that is the normal response. However, some parents are codependent, and so they are going to continue to just, have this unhealthy, toxic relationship that's actually pretty gross, like as if they're like in love. So anyways, there's that. So adoration phase, they're going to compliments, gestures, and love bombing, which I will go into that I'll do a whole series on love bombing and different, there are different styles of tactics that have special words for them in MPD relationships. So I'll just say the word. So anyways, and then the next style, the next thing comes. So they reel you in, and they have you. And in my relationship, they did have me because I found out I was expecting a child. So I did not want to be with this person anymore. Enough had happened to make me say, I will not accept this. But it was my only pregnancy. I had been told that I could never get pregnant, and I had an upbringing with my parents being married, they're still married, and I wanted to give that option to my child, and I wanted that for my child. So that is what kept me from leaving and staying gone. So once you're reeled in and you're stuck in this, then it's going to start with the control and abuse. They're going to control you and keep you in a circle of just you and them only. Maybe they're friends, maybe. But usually it's just you and them. So therefore you are cut off from everybody, and then you get into that cycle of that's your life and you stay in it. And the other thing about the abuse is like criticism. They're going to tell you, just anything about yourself, that they know that will hurt you, something maybe that you are insecure about. They will criticize you, and then it will leave you vying for them to, you'll probably start, changing that about yourself, and then vying for them to take that back and say, "What, good job, well done," like a normal person would. And then, there's public humiliation. You may be at a restaurant, or you may be just wherever, or in front of, family members, and they're going to embarrass you, maybe of just whatever, or maybe, maybe something you just did or said or whatever, or maybe something that you had told them in secrecy, that nobody else knew, and they're going to just bring it out and humiliate the heck out of you. And it's going to just, you're not going to be prepared for that. So you're just going to be stuck in a state of shock. And so another thing, just outrageous behavior, that's a given, and lack of empathy and lack of accountability. So lack of empathy means that, so there's sympathy, like I've told you. Sympathy is you feel bad for another person. Empathy is that you feel those same feelings that the other person feels. So if something happened to a friend of yours, you would take on those feelings. So most human beings have empathy and sympathy, but narcissists do not have empathy. They don't care. They do not feel those feelings that you are feeling. So like when I had to have an emergency hysterectomy, my husband was out cheating on me. My husband was out at bars. He's not allowed to drink because he's an alcoholic. He was doing drugs. He was paying for prostitutes. So all of that is so much abuse. Also, financial abuse. We never, as a married couple, we never had a joint bank account. I wasn't even able to work because I was high risk pregnant, and then I almost died. So financial abuse too. And that is in a court of law, and if you speak to attorneys, that is counted as abuse. Okay? And then physical abuse, we all know what that is. So whatever, physical abuse. That comes on. And then there's the calm stage. So they completely switch. It's like a light switch right behind me. They switch it up and down. And that's throughout the entire thing, the entire relationship. So they're going to apologize. They're going to be very sorry. They're going to promise on, so you can say, promise on your daughter's life. Promise on something that a normal person, like I would never ever promise anything on, anybody's life. I would never do that. Even if it was real, but they'll promise on like the most important person in their world. They'll promise that that they're sorry and that things didn't happen and all of that. So, they'll make excuses. They'll say, so again, he stole a lot of my prescriptions. So his excuse was, I left them out, therefore it triggered him, and he did it. So it was my fault. So there's an excuse. And then they also pretend that the abuse never happened. I know many times that, that it had happened, and I was starting to think I was crazy because he would ingrain in my mind that it did not happen, or that it happened in a different manner. And then comes the rage. So these are the 4. So it was adoration, control, and abuse. So control and abuse are together, and then calm, and then the rage. So they're going to become super angry, especially if you fight back at their calm stage. They're going to become super angry and violent, and they're going to put the victim in their place. So they're going to switch, and it's going to confuse the heck out of you. You are not going to know what to think. You're not going to know what to believe. And again, it's going to be very, very emotionally, physically, and in all ways, very, very harmful to you, your health, and your safety. So those are some 4 stages. And so here's the little cliff note. So the love bombing and adoration, it's, the first stage is where they hook us in. Like I said, they reel us in. It draws us in because it blows our minds, because no one has ever treated us this way. It's so beautiful and loving. And this person is just like the most perfect person ever. And you think you found your soulmate and discovered true love. And it's not real. But they may say things like, "You're everything I've dreamed of." And I've been told that a million times, even throughout our separation before the divorce, that I was, everything. I'd be a whore one day, and then the next day I was everything they had ever dreamed of, and that they had finally found the one. And in turn, I felt the same way. So there's that. And they will tell you, and you will reciprocate this. You will feel like you fall in love very fast, and they will tell you that they love you very quickly. And for me, I don't say that. And it was very, very quick that I thought that I fell in love and that I said, "I love you." So there's that. And then, so you start to fall in love before you actually see the truth, because the next part is the truth coming. So the control and abuse second stage. That's when they inflict the most damage to our emotional health. So we may or may not have self-confidence. I know in my case, I had a lot of self-confidence. And I took a lot of psychology and sociology, so I knew about self-love and all of these things. And so I was very, confident, and they took that away from me. I lost my confidence, and I felt like I was just I was just dirt. And, so they do that, and then they also, in turn, take away our self-esteem. But most of all, we're going to lose our sense of reality, and that is exactly what happened to me. I lost my sense of reality and what was real, because none of it was real. And it's almost like you're like on drugs, like, people are super schizophrenic or whatever. It's almost like that, because you're starting to be like extremely sensitive and, hypersensitive, and just, you don't understand what is real, and you're, paranoid. And, they'll use another manipulation tactic that I'll also go into, which is gaslighting. It's an emotional mental assault on your intuition, and it's used to alter your sense of reality. And I'll go into like an example. They may say something that hurts you, and then you call them out on it, right? As you should. But then they are going to reply with, "I didn't say that," or, "You misheard me. I said this." And they're going to alter just maybe a little bit, but it will change the way that it sounded. So then you're, again, paranoid. And, you're going to believe you're losing your mind, and you begin to rely even more on them. So then you're starting to become dependent upon that person for your reality, for what is real, for your self-confidence, your self-esteem, for everything. You rely on them, and that is what they love. Like, I can't get closer to you. That is the goal, for you to be obsessed with them and to rely on them for absolutely everything. And that is what will happen. And even they'll make you believe that you're sick, and so that they can save you. And it's just really sick. It's a sick tactic. And so anyways, and that's what they want. They're a manipulator. That's what they want you to do. So, and they'll also use tactics to devalue you. That's the same thing, basically, but silent treatment. Now, I didn't get a lot of that in my case, but probably because he just couldn't be silent. He just didn't know how. But unless he was cheating on me, then he could do it. But they'll give you the silent treatment. And guys, what is worse? Someone telling you something horrible, or someone completely ignoring you as if you are nothing, as if you are dirt, as if you don't even deserve a word? Silence. Silence kills. And that is something that even narcissists can't take silence, but they'll do it to you. But if you do it back at them, no. Like, they can't handle it, and they're going to abuse you more. So, they're going to make you feel unworthy. They're going to make you feel like you're not even valuable enough to be heard. They'll also be passive aggressive, using subtle put downs. Just little jabs here and there, like I've said, all to destroy your self-image. You forget everything about yourself. You are a new person. You are not who you were before you met this person. Like for me, I was a very avid dancer, runner, yogi. I was very successful, and during this entire relationship, I didn't even do anything. It all became a blur, and I forgot about it. And I'm so glad that now I'm back, and I have all of the things that I used to love. But it took 2 years for that. And other people, it takes forever. And honestly, I will say I'll probably have that damage for the rest of my life. But I know I have the tools to help me get out of that. So that is one thing that you need to do, is learn the tools. But first, you have to understand if you're even in this type of relationship, or if you were, because it may have just been a bad relationship. So, if you feel like when I'm talking to you, or in any of these videos, if you feel like, oh my gosh, she's telling my story. And that's what happened to me, because a lot of people reached out to me and started telling me things, and then I started doing research, and every time I was reading my own story. And it happens, just, this is the cycle. And so first you have to figure that out. And then you can go from there to learn the tools if that's what you need. Because if you're not in a narcissistic personality disorder relationship, just a bad relationship, the tools aren't really going to help you, because really you just need to move on if it was a bad relationship, because there's nothing that you can do. You just need to leave. But anyways, so, their main goal is to exert full control over everything. Finances, you, just as a person, obviously, your self-image, everything. Control. Control is it. I am a very, very, I've always been told that I have a very strong, I'm very strong opinionated, and I'm very outspoken, and I have a strong personality. And, I don't put up with stuff, but I did. In this one instance, I did. And, even to the point where now I've learned so much, but I still research it. And I don't even know if I will ever want to get married again. So, that's it. They want to exert full control. And in my case also, I did have birth trauma, and I had to have a hysterectomy at 29 at my first pregnancy, my first child. And so they were able to have full control because I couldn't even walk. I was so sick. I had gone fully septic. And so it was very easy for them. They didn't really have to do much. Number 3, rage. So the terrifying part is the rage portion. So I'll give you an example. And I've spoken on this one before about the hospital. When I was in the hospital, I had just had surgery, and he came in there. He brought beer, which we don't drink. He did behind my back, and he was banging on the walls. I had just had surgery and transfusions, and I wasn't promised another day to live ever. And so, he did that. And then he also, when our parents were living there to help with the child, our daughter, he got really drunk and was drinking and driving with his children, my stepdaughters, and not my baby, but the stepdaughters. That he took them to the park, and he was drunk, and he had stolen a bunch of my post-op medications, and so he's drunk and high, and came inside in a full rage, started making up all of this stuff about me, and then came to the hospital because they said, "Get out of here, leave the children here, they're not safe, you need to leave." And then that's when he came and started doing that to me in the hospital. And I cannot believe it, but the hospital did not even do anything. I had to finally I had to tape record it, and finally call someone to have him escorted out. And that takes a lot, because whenever you are in this cycle, you don't want to disrupt anything. You're scared. You're walking on eggshells all the time, and you don't want to cause any more problems with yourself. So you just put up with it. And so if you can do that, I think that I commend you on that. And if you have done that, I commend you on that. So, and so let me look at my clip notes. Many survivors, so I'm a survivor. We report they can feel the tension building in the previous stage, so stage 2, and which is very true, because it was the verbal part, and then so there was that, and then the control and all of that, so we could feel it building up in the phase before, until they finally erupt, just like we would. If you hold all of your thoughts and feelings in your inside, you are going to eventually, something's going to trigger you, and you are going to just erupt, okay, like a volcano. And the timing is just unpredictable. You don't know when it's going to happen, and that's a very, very, very scary part as well. I'll read this one. In most cases, the narcissist becomes very angry, taking his frustration out on you and anyone else. Now, he was very angry with his ex-wife, and he took a lot of that out on me, because if he wouldn't pay child support, he wouldn't get to Skype his children. And so he would take it out on me, and he would also want pity. And so they scream, yell obscenities, throw things, physically hurt you, or emotionally tear you down. Now, I will say he did try to kill me. And I will get into that later. I'm saving some things due to certain reasons. Then at the end of the day, they're going to tell you that it's your fault. And I promise you, even as a strong personality, as a strong woman who is very independent and who loves to just rely on herself and no one else, I wouldn't stand up for myself, because I was scared. And, so they would tell me, it was my fault, and he would tell me it was my fault, but I knew it wasn't, but I wasn't going to say that it wasn't. So I would end up apologizing. And, they'll use, again, the silent treatment to shut you down and leave you out of the narcissist inner circle. And then you're going to beg for communication. You just want an answer, right? Someone's done you wrong. You just want an answer so you can have closure. And in an NPD abusive relationship, you will never, ever, 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 ever have closure. Ever. I am still in the part where I'm better and I'm moving on. But there are days that I still just want to say, I still believe that maybe he will change, and I miss him. And there are days, I have those days a lot. And then I have to go back to reality and listen to my own speakings, listen to other people, and realize it's not what I believe was that person in the very beginning, the reeling in stage. That was never ever a person. That person doesn't exist. And so they're gonna do that. And then, the last thing, the stage of narcissist abusive cycle can last a few minutes or a few months. It can last however long. However, in my case, I left very early, and luckily I had a very good support system. Otherwise, I can tell you I may still be with him, and I left 2.5 years ago. So if I didn't have that support system, I may still have been with him. So anyways, so that however long the length of this goes on, it's damaging, period. And then now 4 is stage 4, calm. It's calm, and we call it hearts and flowers. So, and this, it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a hamster wheel. Like I said, it will go on and on and on and on. So it will start back over after this. So this is a stage of the narcissistic abusive cycle that keeps us stuck. So, we live for the few minutes of peace and contrived love that the narcissist doles out. So now, after all of this horror and trauma, they're going to start telling you how much they love you, how sorry they are, and flowers, anything. Even to the extent of buying you a new car, an extravagant gift, something like that. However, for most people, a car is just a car. Like, I know that someone I dated in the past, they sent me a book, and it was just a book, but it was a book of a movie that I loved. And that means more to me. That means more to me because that they are actually doing something that they know that is meaningful to you. And that's a real relationship. And that's real care and real love. Okay? So, they're going to just say they're sorry, all of that. And then we're so injured, we're so traumatized that we will take any apology and any type of promise. So let's go to counseling. Let's all, if they have alcohol issues or drug issues, I'll go to rehab. I'll go to IOP. Anything. So we'll accept that, and we will wait for it, and it will never happen. Again, I want to get close to you so that you realize it will never happen. So, we take anything. And that way we don't have to say goodbye just yet, because we still remember the first cycle of love and we don't want to say goodbye. It's hard. Even without a child, it is hard to say goodbye when you remember all of the love and the fun and the, what you thought was love. It really wasn't, though. It really wasn't. And you can have that with someone who really cares about you and who loves you. And that's the great part about all of this, is that once you get out of this cycle, you can go on and still have that, but it will be real. So, anyways, we don't know how to survive, without this person. We have been sucked in, and we have been cut off from all of our circles that we depend solely on them. So we don't know what else to do. So then it starts back over. Hamster wheel, back to square one. I get it, talk. And then it just goes on and on and on. And then, so, breaking the cycle, I'll touch on this just a little bit, but I'll read. They will go on forever until we refuse to cooperate or leave. And so in my case, because he tried to kill me, and he was putting my daughter in severe danger, I did leave. So he's very upset that he didn't get to the discard stage either. He didn't get to discard me. I got to leave. He didn't leave me. I left. And that was because, again, of my support system and because of my duty as a parent, as a mother, and the safety of our child, who was an infant. And so, anyways, breaking the cycle, a lot of times, like I said, people who have been in this type of relationship, they, had parents that were narcissists. And so that is all they knew. That's all they knew. That is what they're accustomed to. And that is the love that they are used to. And that is the only love that they know. And that is very damaging, very severe. And I honestly cannot, I have empathy and I can understand that and feel for that, but I cannot say that I've been through it. So for those who have, I truly am, I don't even have words to say, because it's just, I can't imagine that happening. And growing up that way, because I didn't grow up that way. And then, another question, did I express my needs to my partner? You did. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to read it. You did. And they know you, and they know you more than you know you. And you don't question yourself. You do not need to question yourself, because they knew what your needs were, and they were not met, and they wanted to meet them in the beginning. That obviously, so you did express your needs, and they knew what you needed, and then they did the complete opposite to hurt you. So, yes, you did express your needs. And are you being yourself? In the beginning, of course you are. Of course you are. Unless you're a narcissist, you want them to know about you so that you can know if this is a match. And so at the very end of it, you're not yourself. You're not yourself. You are what they shaped you into being. But I will read this. So the phrase, "you do you," sums this up perfectly. You must remind yourself that you are not responsible for anyone else's emotions. You are not. They chose to do what they did, and if they wanted to have their cake and eat it too, or whatever it was, they chose that. And you are not responsible for that. So stop trying to constantly make things work by keeping them happy or calming the anger, because all you're doing is causing trauma to yourself, no longer just emotionally, no longer just mentally, but physically. Even if they didn't physically abuse you, which I was physically abused, but even if they didn't, being in that constant state of fight or flight mode is not a normal thing. And it causes very, very, very severe consequences to your body because of the adrenal hormones and adrenal glands, because you are in that fight or flight. Either, so example, fight or flight, if you didn't see a recent video, if someone comes up to you and has a gun, you're going to either fight them off if you have a gun or whatever, try to fight, or you're going to run. And no one lives in that way. No one lives that way, because you're not always in this state of danger. You're not always in danger. So you should never, ever be in a constant fight or flight. That is only for when you are in danger, and our body, our adrenal glands and our hormones, they amp up, and so they put you in that state so that it's subconsciously, and so that your heartbeat races, and either fight or run. Okay, so that is not a real thing, and it can cause cancer. It can cause little things like hives. It can cause depression. It can cause anxiety. It can cause paranoia. It can cause a lot of harmful things. And at the end of the day, the only person you can control is you. So I hope that this helped. I hope that you guys got something out of this. I will continue to go into more depth. There's stonewalling. There's a lot of different things. But I will continue to go into more depth throughout this series. But just for today, I wanted to go over those things. Because I think that it's best to start realizing if it even applies to you, and then realizing the beginning, the most vital beginning, the foundation of this type of relationship, so that then you are ready to understand the other stuff, because you can't understand it if you don't understand the first parts. Okay, so I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and I will be back on here soon with some more information. And again, if you are in this type of relationship, seek help, seek a counselor, be totally honest, be totally free, and if you're in the relationship, try your best to understand this, watch it again, research, and try to get out for your own well-being, and especially if you have children as well. So I hope this helped you guys, and I love you. I'll see you next time, and I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.